And we are back at the lab. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, joined by the new USC Athletic Director, Lynn Swann. Soon we'll stop calling you the new USC Athletic Director, but it's still only been a few months since you've taken over. And
I think I did a year.
Is that what it is? A year? We'll take new off.
A full year, and then the new is gone.
How has the newness been? How have the few months, first few months, treated you as the new boss over at Heritage Hall?
You know, they've treated me well. I think I am extraordinarily fortunate to be coming in as the athletic director, the 8th athletic director at USC. We've got a great staff. I think we have a great coach. I like Clay. I like what he is trying to teach the young men on the field and off the field. I like his method of coaching and what he's trying to instill in them and his approach to the game. I've known T. Martin. I was covering college football when he was playing college football. I've watched Clancy Pendergast in this game grow from an assistant with the Cowboys to various places, the Cardinals, the Cal, at Berkeley, and of course at USC. So it's a good place to be. Great people in the athletic department, a great school, and I'm glad to be back.
You know, Lynn, ever since you've been on campus, I would assume you probably saw more practices now than you've seen, in a long time. How much of it do you enjoy it? I know you enjoy the job, actually, and it is, what you do for a living. But how much do you enjoy, just going to practice and just being around the guys again?
Every day I walk out in the practice field, I have to remind myself I cannot run those routes. I want to go out. I want to catch a few passes from Max. I want to see how he throws the ball. I want to see how it comes into my hand. I want to test it out and see what kind of velocity he has on the ball. I get out there and I'm not the coach. Okay,
Right.
That's not my job,
Right.
And I'm not going to be the coach. But I'll see a receiver running a route, and I'll pull him over to the side, and I'll ask him why he was doing this. Mm-hmm. And I say, well, I think you might get a little more out of it if you do this.
Right.
Or I'll ask Juju, what are you working on today?
Right.
I'll go over to Adoree and I'll ask him what he's working on. And when I get out to practice and Adoree is coaching these young kids, he's coaching them up, trying to get them ready. I want to go out there and I want to challenge him and see how good he really is.
Well, Lynn,
you can't do that.
Well, they did put the bubble screen is now in effect, so you actually you can get out there still.
Look, I can take one step turn and catch the
there
ball.
There you go.
Okay. And the hamstring pull is about mostly what I can do.
But that's the thing. You talk about the bubble screen. You were an All-American, consensus All-American, with 42 catches.
Hey,
That's a third of a season for Juju.
Don't trash the 42 catches.
You had to work for every one of them.
No, they were 42 quality catches.
Right.
When you understand that they didn't want to throw the ball at all.
Right.
42 quality catches.
42 catches and 43 targets. You had to make it count.
When they opened up the John McKay Center, the first year they opened it up, there is a room called the Lynn Swann Receiver Room, okay? And so I took my sons into the room, and I said, I want you to see this. Your dad was here, and, I played pretty good. Got a room named after him and all that kind of good stuff, right? And so there were some records on the wall and season records. It said, I held the record for the most catches, career catches, at USC. They said, really? How come I don't see it up there? I said, because my 3-year starting career record was 90 passes, and they catch more than that in the season now.
Yeah.
So, it's a little different.
JJ was at the top of that chart once upon a time, too, and now it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's records.
What is your assessment of Juju Smith-Schuster? Obviously, you're somebody that would have a unique insight into his position and everything that goes into it, and obviously, pretty big-time talent coming back for his junior season.
I think he's deserving of all the credit and all the accolades for his play and his style. I think he's smart. He plays with an attitude. He understands what his job is, what his role is. But I think mostly what I've observed and just kind of watching his behavior and character in the field, he's got a huge heart.
Yeah.
He wants to play the game. He can be that receiver that can make great moves and make great catches. I think he understands the position well enough to be very technical about what he's doing, so he's not wasting his time running a route when he doesn't have to run a route to fake somebody out because he's running against his zone. He's reading the defense, so he executes very well. But I think the most important thing I've seen is that he's got such a big heart, and he wants to play up, he wants to play hard, and he wants to play for the team.
You know, Lynn, I heard that you talked to the Rooneys about, sort of how to run a franchise and sort of, the things that have sort of encompass your job. And they sort of talked about the head coach in particular in terms of, how a head coach sort of shapes what you're doing. Expand on that a little bit for the fans that might not have heard.
Well, the Rooneys have run a tremendous organization for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Chuck Noll was the head coach when I got there, won 4 Super Bowls. The next coach comes in, he gets to 2 Super Bowls and wins another one. Then another coach comes in, he gets to 2 Super Bowls, wins one, and they're always in the hunt. They're always in the playoffs, and so they're making it happen. So why do the Rooneys and why do the Steelers have that kind of success? And Dan and Art talked about their philosophy of hiring a head coach. When they hired Mike Tomlin, he was the youngest head coach in the NFL, I believe, at that time. So it wasn't about age. You didn't have to have all this experience. And I'm sure Max will agree with this if you asked him the same question. The coach has to believe in what he's doing every day. The moment he steps on the field, he's got to be authentic about what he's trying to teach these young men and the kind of football he wants to play. Kids see through that. Players see through that instantly, because if you're not authentic, if you're not real, okay, you can't sustain it. You can't come out there every day and drive and motivate and get everybody in the right place and handle all the minutia of football and everything else that has to go on. It's a lot of work. And if you don't believe it, you can't do it. And that was the most important thing they said. You got to find somebody who believes in what they're doing.
All right, well, your first football game as athletic director, nice and easy one with Alabama on Saturday. What do you anticipate feeling like? You going to be one of these nervous parents in the stands? Are you going to be cool and calm on the sideline? What are you going to be like inside on Saturday?
If you look at me during the game, you probably won't even know or won't be able to tell what I'm thinking.
That's why I'm asking. So what's going on? So you tell us
we know that
what's
already.
going on.
I'm not going to
We
tell
know
you.
that.
I'm not going to tell you. Look,
You'll be a good poker face then.
When I was a freshman at USC, the first game the varsity played and freshmen weren't eligible was against Alabama, the game you were just talking
Sure,
about, Sam
1970.
Cunningham, who was my roommate for 2 years at USC. And I watched that game. Then my first game as a player, when John McKay named me as the starting wide receiver in the locker room, and I didn't know I was going to start until that moment. We played Alabama, and we didn't win, so I'm 1-1. Okay, I'm looking to go up on the
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. I'm going up on the plus side here.
All right,
But I'll be excited.
Looking forward to it. We thank you for joining us, and look forward to working with you on this show. And trust us, if Max Brown was your quarterback, you would have gotten more than 42 catches.